Wow. Hey, pura vida. Much love and respect. Thanks for tuning in once again. Appreciate everybody that's here, tuned in. Thanks for taking the time to do that. And today, it's one of those parts, history or myth. You tell me. A lot of people have talked about this topic in the past. It's pretty amazing. A lot of people bring it up to me like, yeah, of course Egypt is in America. Kincaid's, you know, exploration, in the Grand Canyon. And everybody, seems to agree that it has to be true, right? Like, people use it like it's a primary source. Um, you know, honestly, we're gonna show what really is out there, really only. But apart from that, we do know that America is the true old world, so we use other correlation, other information, other resource to corroborate these stories and reports, so-called myths, these legends, right? So, hey, let's have fun just conversating about it. Let's just talk about it. Thanks for tuning in again. And before we begin, we're gonna go into some books real quick. Let's Again, we live, so just bear with me. So we can let people come in. All right. So this one right here is Corridors of Time. It says here from the Reader's Digest. We're gonna look at some pretty cool images here of the Grand Canyon. Before we get started, it says here we're gonna dodge the hijack. 1.700 was that million? So 1,700,000,000 years of the Earth at Grand Canyon. Is it really that old? Or could it just be something caused by a cataclysm or something like that? You know, panoramic photography and text by Ron Redfern. Hey, thanks for the photos. Fair use. Again, let's see what we can find in here while we get people coming in. Again, thanks for being here. Appreciate everybody that's tuning in. Wow, wow. Yeah. So yeah, the Grand Canyon, yeah, right? It's pretty crazy, right? The Grand Canyon. All right. So where is the Grand Canyon? This is just for the basics for everybody. There's a lot of people that don't know, believe it or not, guys. All right. So we're in the United States, right? So it's like in this region, between Arizona, Utah, Nevada. All right. You got Colorado extending into Colorado, a little bit of California, and as you zoom in, let me show you guys. So, so this will be one of those spots, I guess, where they have tourists go. I mean, it's very limited. You can't just go inside the Grand Canyon. It's blocked off. You guys know it's illegal. You can't just go into the Grand Canyon. So there's like designated areas and trails for the tourists, things like that. But pretty vast, yeah, pretty big, pretty extensive. You know, there's very wild areas and parts that there's no humans, going in there. Many reservations, many indigenous reservations. All right, so all this is the Grand Canyon, as you guys can see. So the Hula Pai Indian Reservation around there, and then we got the Colorado River, of course, or the Red River, colored river, Colorado colored, which empties into the Gulf of California or the ancient Red Sea. Yeah, going through so-called Egypt, huh? All right, so yeah, this is hey, much love and respect, Odd Events. Thank you for the donation. All right, so yeah, in case anybody doesn't know, so look, it keeps going. All this is the Grand Canyon. It's just immense. And the Colorado River, you follow it. All right, Supai, like a little village here. See that? Yeah. Oh yeah, you can do the lighter thing. I haven't really done it or tried it. All right, but I just wanted to show. And then it ends up in this forest. mountain range. Look at the Grand Canyon National Park. So very vast. You guys saw how far I traveled, right? So this whole area. All right. So again, yeah, very extensive. A very amazing place, right? We could only ponder on what happened there, what has gone down there. All right. So they have their theories here on how it was created. Pretty funny. You know, the big blast, the bang bang, and all that. Yeah. But yeah, looking at some images, this great book right here, real quick. We're gonna read something in this book too, as well. All right. Hey, much love, James. Man, appreciate you always, man. Make sure to check out James Lucifer Wooten channel as well. Elder got a lot to say. Everybody's message, everybody's important. Everybody matters. Gotta make sure to check out what everybody's saying, get different perspective and everything. Because at the end of the day, there's only one truth. So, you know, if we, you know, the we're with the Great Spirit, it's gonna be like, you know, all pertinent, all connecting. So. So yeah, some great pictures here in this book. All right, we're just gonna keep looking at. I'm gonna show you something, and these books that I found. And I ain't gonna lie, shout out to Harry Hubbard. Yeah, shout out to Harry Hubbard. I saw a video he was doing, and he was pointing out these books. He was showing some images, but I saw some other ones he wasn't mentioning. I was like, wow, and wanted to go over it. Yeah, you know Harry Hubbard from the Burroughs Cave. Yeah, the collection. Yeah. All right. So actually, let's open it up like this. So that's, I guess, when there floods. All right. Wow, look at that. With the snow. Look at these monuments. Are they all natural? Yeah. Look at the red stone and these ancient trees, ancient cedar, cross-bedded sandstone, Zion, Zion. Yeah, Zion Canyon, Zion, Mount Zion, Zion. Huh? Wow, look at that. So the Grand Canyon, right? Very mysterious place. And it's blocked off today. You can't really go in there, like deep in there. And it's, you know, not recommended unless you know how to survive, things like that. You know, you better be ready. Oh, I got a bottle again. Hold on, guys. The mountains are the sleeping giants. Yeah. The canyon was shaped from the voice of the creator. Sound created it. All right. Yeah. I'm just reading through the chat here, guys. So look at this. Look at that. Is that what they're saying it used to look like? And that's the ancient pyramids, the ancient trees. All right. We'll get to the juicy stuff, guys. So don't worry. Just going to go over. Letting some people come through just in case they're late. We're going over these images. Look at this ancient trunk right here. Look at that. The biggest mine in the world. The biggest mine in the world. That could be a possibility for sure. So what it says, a rendition of water, is that? I think they're the lava cascades of Toro Web. Here are the western end of the Grand Canyon. The cliffs rise about 3,000 feet from the river. Volcan's throne at the top left at the panorama was one of the last of a series of volcanic events that began a million years ago. That's the hijack. Volcan's throne surmounts a series of flows which have filled the mouth of the valley and possibly its full length for many miles back from the Colorado River on the left side. All right, so this is, I guess, rendition they're doing right here. Yeah, we're gonna take our time. I don't want to kind of rush. I want to make sure, we get over these images, just visualize real quick. Yeah, visualize. All right, so we gotta start. What's going on with the music? All right, so yeah, I like the hiking videos. I'll be watching that. So this is I guess them saying how the lava flow came in the past, shaped some of the place. All right. Hmm. Definitely looks like water. A lot of water has gone through here. Drop the beat. Drop the beat. Uh, yeah, shout out to Joseph Levels for that. Yeah, I don't know if the music is too loud sometimes because I can't, it's hard for me to hear it, but it's different, the output that Zoom does. So hold on. Don't worry, guys. Let me get to the juicy part right here. Okay. It says here, indigenous man. Let's see what they got to say here. Indigenous man. The oldest known artifacts yet discovered in Grand Canyon are small figurines made from willow twigs of animals, pierced by miniature spears. They were found under rude cairns in the deep recesses of caves in the Redwall limestone, and it is believed that they were put there by American Indians as part of some hunting ritual at least 4,000 years ago. The people who made them were probably members of what archaeologists call the desert culture, one of several geographically defined groups of ancient peoples who populated North America at that time. Although this may sound ancient in modern historical terms, in fact, these people were by no means the first Americans. All right? That's not ancient, he's saying. The original ancestors preceded them by many thousands of years. Since the continent of Africa is generally held to have been the cradle of mankind, thus the hijack with their out of Africa theories. How did early Homo sapiens get to North America? So if Africa's supposed to be the motherland, why do we have people here thousands and thousands of years ago? In the depths of the Grand Canyon, huh? The story that answers this question starts in the year 1904 with the discovery of a biochemical method for classifying relationship of mammals. All right, so they try to figure out with their science, huh? Okay, let me see. There's a part here. The earliest hominids probably, okay, so the earliest hominids probably bore striking resemblance. Oh man, chimpanzee, you see what I'm saying? They're going with the evolution. Okay, no Homo erectus here. So no skeletal traces of Homo erectus or Homo sapiens, Neanderthals have been found in North America, huh? No monkey bones, huh? But such traces of early Homo sapiens do occur. But modern humans, yeah, Homo sapiens, they have found that here, though. Remember, we've gone over the information, the Calavera skull, the Guadalupe woman, and so many, findings they've all over the Americas of modern humans and very old deposits, especially in California and all those areas. The earliest authenticated finds are those from a rich Pleistocene epoch fossil bed of the Old Crow's Flats on the Porcupine River in northeastern Alaska. A fleshing tool made from caribou bone was there in 1973, as were two mammoth bones that appear to have been deliberately crushed when green. They have been dated about 27,000 years before the present, so that's even before their so-called Clovis first, but they're not even going deep enough. That's in Alaska. We found things as old as that. South America, Central America, and other parts of North America. So in 1975, a cave that was occupied by prehistoric man was discovered near Avella in eastern Pennsylvania on the banks of Cross Creek, a tributary of the Ohio River. This site, now called the Meadowcroft Shelter, was continuously occupied from about 20,000 years before the present, and by the dating of charcoal recovered from strata underlying those containing artifacts, it seems possible that the site could have been in use perhaps as early as 37,000 years. Come on, man, you see how they're just pushing things back? This is way before the Clovis thing and the Bering Strait thing. Two other authenticated sites of a similar nature are those at the Fort Rock Caves, Oregon, and Wilson Butt Cave, Idaho. There are a number of other locations that lay claim to even greater antiquity than 37,000 years, okay? There's even more findings, and we've gone over a lot of the findings actually. Remember, in California, they got traces, proof of humans interacting or messing with mastodon bones. This is in depths that, they're saying it's at least 100,000 years old. Graham Hancock's, they're finding an occupation in the Amazon at least 100,000 years. Occupation in the Amazon. So, it's nothing new to us. So, again, there are a number of other locations that lay claim to even greater antiquity. But although it is generally agreed by archaeologists that the date of early man's arrival in North America will probably be pushed back to perhaps 50,000 years or more, as new discoveries are made. New discoveries. They don't know, guys. They know they're about to make new discoveries. Only undisputed sites have been mentioned here. Only the ones they accept or things they can undispute. What is no longer in dispute is that North America became widely populated long before Europeans discovered it. It is generally thought that this was the result of spontaneous migration across what is now the 56-mile gap of the Bering Strait. All right, so dodge the hijack. So again, that's their theories, and just want to show you that they're like, wow, man, there seems to have been people here long ago. Long ago. Look at this. And look at these guys. Do you guys see these? You see these entrances right here? All right, let's go back. Hold up. It says now Coweb in Marble Canyon, an ancient dwelling and storehouse set high above the Colorado River and Nakoweb Rapids. It was occupied by the Anasazi culture. So who's the Anasazi? Anasazi just means the ancient ones. So who's the ancient ones, huh? So who's living in these caves? So what else is in the Grand Canyon? This is the only ones they allow you to see. This is the only ones that people were able to get a picture of. You understand? You guys see what? You guys see? Can you guys see what we're looking at here? Above the Colorado River? You see these entrances to these caves inside the Grand Canyon? How complex could it be inside? What if it all connects underground? Amazing, right? Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, the Colorado red river, Red Sea, red Colorado, huh? So let's see what it says here. The two most populous places of the range were the Tusayan, the ruin near the east entrance to the national park, and at an inaccessible place under a cliff near Point Sublime on the north rim. There are many ruins, such as that on Great Thumb Mesa. Many ruins, okay? Characterized by tower-like fortifications. Characterized by tower-like fortifications, but although they look warlike, their true purpose is not known, and probably was not defense. Down in the depths of the canyon, every Colorado River tributary delta was a potential living site. The best known are those of Nanko Webb Creek and Marble Canyon, about 52 feet, miles, sorry, below Lee's Ferry, at the confluence with the Little Colorado River at Anchor Creek, right band foreground. At the Bright Angel Creek near Phantom Ranch, some dwellings were built on or near the farm sites, and their ruins can be plainly seen today. Others were built high above the river. under overhanging cliffs, such as cliff dwellings, were also used as granaries to store surplus food for use in wintertime, huh? Granaries for storing food, just like, remember Joseph and what he did with Pharaoh? They stored food, right? Because they had 7 years of abundance and 7 years of drought. So granaries, a lot of granaries, but that's what they're saying it's for. It could have been used for something else. All right, so access to them is nearly always difficult or hazardous, okay? You can't even access these places, these ruins. Occasionally, a wooden pole bridge, such as that near President Hardin's Rapid in Marble Canyon, can be seen joining two precarious ledges high above the river. They too were built by ancient Indians for reasons that are not always clear to those who have managed to reach them with the aid of ropes. Whatever else, these people were certainly superb rock climbers, okay? The only site that's still occupied in the Grand Canyon is Havasu Canyon, 70 miles river below Angel Creek. All the others, both in Canyon and on its friends, were abandoned between 1150 and 1200, huh? That's just like when the Nahua invaded or the Mexica came down over the Toltec lands. Why the canyon area became suddenly inhospitable or undesirable to its occupants is no longer a matter of conjecture. It is now generally agreed that year of drier climate simply reversed a process that seems to have started with a period of increased precipitation. So a lot of rain, then drought, huh? So this is their explanation. I just wanted to show that. That was an amazing picture right there. Let's see what else they got in here. All right, this is a picture of the canyon. Can you imagine what else is all over in there? Well, they don't let people go at all. Yeah, we've seen the video. That's a really good video. When mountains were trees. When mountains were trees. Yes. I got a future video on that. It's going to be part of this series, History or Myth. When mountains were trees. Shout out to Condrop, who put me onto that video you're mentioning. Yeah. That's actually the first video I saw of Condrop. He was going over that video. Yeah. The intrusive man. The intrusive man. It actually starts talking about Estevanico and everything, and all the Spaniards and the Moors and Sephardic Jews. Pretty interesting. Things we've gone over actually. All right, so see pictures of it in the snow. Hey ya ha ya, hey ya ha ya. So you guys can see the people right here on the left. Like, wow, it's pretty crazy to be on the edge like that with no railing. Does that have railing? It must have railing. But then, what is this on top of the? What is it? This looks man-made over here, right in front of the people. I don't know what that is, but that looks almost man-made. Yeah, we can go forever and ever here. But you guys ready for what they're about to show? Check it out. This is a famous picture. All right, so this is the book that comes out of. All right, so what are we gonna go over here? So first of all, it's 2 pages. Let me see. Yeah, so it's the whole 2 pages right here. So first, let me read. It says, "The view from Javapai Museum. Javapai Museum is perched on the edge of a precipitous drop on the south rim of Grand Canyon near Grand Canyon Village. Javapai is one of the most popular overlooks for the several million people who visit Grand Canyon National Park every year. The museum not only houses an interesting exhibit that tells the geological story of Grand Canyon, but also has a multi-paneled pictured window through which visitors can identify the mountainous buttes that rise in the tiers from the canyon's floor directly below. This panorama reconstructs that view." All right, so, all right, we're gonna zoom into each page, and it's gonna show us the name of some of these places, right? So we got Osiris Temple, right? Osiris Temple, Indian Gardens, Scorpion Ridge, the Battleship, Shiva Temple, Isis Temple. You guys see that? Isis Temple, Kaibab. This is all Egyptian names. Cheops Pyramid, the Cheops Pyramid, Phantom Ranch, Kaibab Plateau, Ozabot, Okay, do you guys see that? Cheops Pyramid, Shiva Temple, Isis Temple, Osiris Temple. Okay? This is where they got that image from. Everybody gets that image from. All right, go to the next page. We got Brahma Temple, Zoroaster Temple. All right, temples. What are they telling us, huh? Are these just buttes, as they're calling them? Vishnu Temple? Wotan's throne, man. This is Wotan's throne. Wotan, 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 right? Wotan from the Maya. Wotan, Vishnu. Okay? Yeah. All right, look at all those names. Wotan, you already know. So check this out. I told you they were talking about Estevanico and Mendoza and Marcos de Niza. It says in 1539, Mendoza dispatched a priest as an envoy. Hold on, guys. Fray Marcos de Niza, who was preceded by Estebanico, to find the cities and plunder their treasure. We're talking about Estebanico the Moor from Morocco. Right? These are people exploring the Grand Canyon. We're just talking about cities of gold. Shout out to Con Drop, man. I love that cartoon. He made me watch. He made me watch that because I probably would have never watched it. I didn't get a chance to see it in the 80s or whenever it came out. But yeah, interesting story when it comes to Denisa Estevanico Mendoza. Antonio de Mendoza, right? On his return to New Spain, Denisa reported quite untruthfully that he had seen 7 golden cities in the distance. He was referring to part of the Hawiwa, Hawikawa, a striking but unmistakably adobe village of central New Mexico where Esteban had died, all right? They killed Estebanico the Moor, the Indians, because they said he wasn't doing things right. Yeah, they said he was acting up. Their version of the story is the Moor was acting up. Pueblo resident, the Sunni, where Denisa learned that the Indians called the locality Cibola, one of the 7 cities of Cibola, huh? So this is the story, right? And they went through the Grand Canyon and all that. So they met a lot of these indigenous people in there, and a lot of these ruins they ran into while they were in there as well. So again, look at these canyon walls. All right. All right, we're gonna go to this book now. Pretty cool pictures here too. This is the Time and the River Flowing, Grand Canyon by Francois Leidet. Right, Francois Leidet. Let's borrow the book again. Yeah, Hawa. Thanks for tuning in. We're just going over some images of the Grand Canyon. Pretty amazing stuff here. You know. So yeah, they're finding things here really old in the Grand Canyon. That's why they were bringing that up in the last book about these old findings. All right. It says yucca blooms. Wow. All right, so I don't know. I'm looking at this image right here. Do you guys see right here? Looks like a wall almost. You see the squares broken up. I mean, it could be natural, but look at that. That almost looks like, wow. Look at that. These walls right here. All right, so do you guys see this huge cave right here? Cave. All right. Look at this huge cave. It says that now the scenery is on a grand scale. The walls of the canyon, 2,500 feet high, are a marble of many beautiful colors and often polished below by the waves of far up the sides, where showers have washed the sands over the cliffs. At one place I have walked for a mile and a mile on a marble pavement, and all polished and fretted with strange devices, and embossed in 1,000 fantastic patterns. All right, that's how you're describing it. So you see that picture right here, right? There's a cave in there. That's an entrance right there, man. I'm telling you, there's so many things in there. All right. So let's see what he's saying. Look at this. Some nice water, some spring water coming out the walls, coming out the ancient tree stumps. Grand Canyon. Every feature expresses that logic which we have come to find indispensable in the human architecture we most admire. For every feature there is a why and a wherefore. Nowhere else are landscape and geology more intimately related, the one more clearly an expression of the other. So a lot of wildlife they're showing now. I just saw a bobcat. They probably got a lot of jaguars there now. We've been spotting the jaguars. A lot of people's been telling me, they're spotting a lot of jaguars now in the south. So maybe a lot of jaguars are hiding out in the Grand Canyon. That's a lot of places to hide for them and recover and populate. Sure, they got plenty of food there. All right, all right. One more book. This one's pretty good. I'm gonna show you guys. There's a pretty interesting glyph here they found. A petroglyph, right? Proving something we've already demonstrated, but people still think something else about it. You'll see what I'm talking about. This book is, let's see, Ghost of Glen Canyon: History Beneath Lake Powell by G. Gregory Crampton. Okay. So it's in black and white. Let me actually borrow it. So again, pretty good books. You guys want to go ahead and read through them. That's why I'm showing them to you guys. You can find them on archive.org. All right. So this is them talking about their experience in the Grand Canyon. All right. Getting ready to take the pictures. Look at that. Wow, look at those. Almost look like buildings, right? Wow. What is that? And he's like, I'm gonna take a picture of this for sure. Look at the arches. Just like in Arches National Park. And some ruins right here. It says Anasazi ruins. Again, Anasazi. The ancient ones. The ancient ones. A lot of the glyphs here. Angus Woodbury of the University of Utah examines an extensive panel of Anasazi petroglyphs. All right, you guys see the petroglyphs? So-called Anasazi. This is just the one they allow us to see, right? There's a lot more. Says the first canyon dwellers, prehistoric man, archaeologists tell us, has been in the Southwest for a long time. For thousands of years, the first people lived a simple life, hunting, foraging, and moving about a great deal. Gradually, these early inhabitants developed more sophisticated ways of life, and several interrelated cultures emerged, each showing a remarkable adaptation to arid, resource-poor, rocky environment. One of these, the Anasazi culture, by the beginning of the Christian era, occupied the scenic Four Corners, a region extended outward from the common point where the boundaries of Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona converge. The Anasazi from the Navajo word meaning ancient ones. All right, I told you that's not their name. That just means ancient ones. Claim much of the Glen Canyon area. Another people, the Fremont, with close ties to the Anasazi and Glen Canyon, generally live west and north of the Colorado River. All right, so let me take a look at these glyphs right here. It says prehistoric petroglyphs located near Hyde and Upper Glen Canyon. Look at that. Yeah. Welcome, welcome. Pura vida, mi gente. Hope you guys enjoying and enjoying the chat as well. You know. And kind of like a little drawing right here. And I got another petroglyph to show you guys. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Hold on. Somewhere in here. So there's more ruins they're showing here and there, but they're not really showing the real ruins. We're gonna see some more petroglyphs. See that? What's that they're taking down over here? Looks like they're destroying something here, like a mound or something. Look at their mining. The spring water flows from the base of 75-foot high walls in the narrow canyon of the Waweep, right? Out of the ancient trunks. Walls. Look at these walls for real. Wow. All right, this is pretty cool. Check this out, guys. So, all right, that's what it looks like today, I guess, but it's broken, right? It's broken. Look at it. It's broken. And this is what supposedly it looked like in the past over here on the right. Let me just zoom in. All right. You guys see that? And it says Thomas Moran's Island Monument, as it appeared in Powell's report of his second expedition in 1875. You see that? It looks like a statue. It looks like a statue of some sort, right? Now let me back up again. Whoops. Whoops. Sorry about that. So, all right. Looks like they broke it or something. What happened, huh? Pretty cool, right? Now check this out, guys. Look at this cave. Look at this two cave entrances. One up here, down here. And he's looking right at it. They're taking pictures of it and everything. You see? Yeah, like, look at that cave. They even left their initials there. Guys, see that? Yeah. All right. Some more prehistoric inhabitants created this elaborate panel of petroglyphs located at right bar using stone to peg stone. All right. Yeah. Some more ruins. all the exploration they've done. But they ain't gonna let nobody go in there. You're not down with the team. You're not down with the team. All right. Oh, look at this. Almost looks like a cone. All right. A so-called butte. Is that a building? So-called butte. Says the view shows the place where Last Chance Creek entered the Colorado through a shallow canyon. Some buildings up here. They're making all up. So they're taking a picture of this building back here, but they're pretending to take a picture of the little ruins. An abandoned cattle camp. Yeah, that's just distraction. They're taking a picture of this monument back here. It says a view of Wild Horse Bar photograph from point near the foot of the bar on September 7, 1959. Yeah, the Gleason map. It shows flat. Yep. That's another topic for another day. All right, look at them just exploring, huh? Exploring. Look at this. That looks like something right here. It says Lake Powell waters lap at the base of the same trail with Klondike Point visible in the background. All right, Klondike Point. That's what they call it. Klondike Point. Beyond the ice walls. Worlds beyond the poles, huh? Look at these little bridges or arches. Pretty cool. Yeah. Another view of these monuments. All right, so where is the petroglyph? Wanted to show you guys. All right, just look at this picture. See where they're standing. Wow. It's so vast, right? So much to explore in the Grand Canyon. Yeah, the clouds were different. When clouds were clouds and not chemtrails. If you're watching this late and not live, you're probably wondering who I'm talking to. There's a live chat I'm interacting with, just in case. All right. Yeah. This photograph records a section of the panel of Fremont-style pictographs at Davis Gulch. The prehistoric artist who worked on the four tall figures with trapezoidal bodies, a Fremont hallmark, probably used two different types of paint. In time, one type flaked off, giving the four an abstract appearance. The figures measure about 2 feet in height. And then it got a close-up of one of them. It says, this remarkable pictograph enlarged from the panel at left has a painted background in blank silhouette. It's almost like a stamp. That's crazy, right? Wow. All right, you seeing what I'm seeing, right? All right, they're just in there exploring. So they're telling you what part of the Grand Canyons they're in, every time. So again, pretty good books to go over if you like to on your own. That's why I was showing them to you. All right, because the rare times that they've gone into the Grand Canyons, that they allowed people to go and take pictures and stuff. All right. Look at these people. These like prospectors and people living there. So the living quarters of the oil seep were small. All right, so people gathering oil for these companies in the 1920s. They were living in these places right here. These were probably ancient dwellings they just took over. All right. A little old tractor. Wow. All right. Yep. There's a detailed view of the roof construction inside Wasp House with large beams overlain by intersecting layers of poles and willows. Look at that. And the ruins. Wow. All right, you guys ready? Take a look at this. What do you see here? MC was the first one to notice what they're doing. What do you guys see here? It says this photograph captures the Defiance House. Pictograph panel. The figure on the right measures some 4 feet high. All right, what are they doing? Come on now. They got swords and shields. And they're like got this warlike stance. They're about to go at it, battling. They got swords and shield. Come on now. Either combat or training. Yeah, you already know. You already know. It almost looks like the samurais too. Not just like any kind of sword and shield people. See how they got their legs bent, martial art pose and stuff. Warriors, squatting man battles. Yeah. Pretty cool, right? Oh, they didn't want us to see the Indians like this. Hey, much love, Terminator. Thank you for the donation. Yeah, they didn't want us to see petroglyphs like this. Yeah. Yeah, the same armor and stuff. Look at that. Wow. Wow. They thought they were, so they're supposed to be just some hunter gatherers, right? Hunter gatherers who got shields and swords. Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Hold up. Then we got some more petroglyphs I want to show you guys. It's in here somewhere. Some more ruins. It's a lot of ruins everywhere. Prehistoric ruins. All right. Located 300 feet downstream from Fort Moki. Moki or Mochi. Mochi or Moki. Moki, Mochi. Moche, Moki. Come on. Where is the petroglyph? It's not it. Where'd it go? Hold on. Mhm. Hold on, guys. I want to show you this petroglyph. Okay, I found it. Not sure how I skipped this, but we found it. Let me show you guys this. All right, here we go. Check this out, guys. So it says, hold on. Not sure why this is not giving me the bar to zoom in. Hold on. That's all. So it says a nearly life-size petroglyph of a horse was located at the mouth of Trail Canyon. What do you mean a petroglyph of a horse? I thought horses, I thought Europeans brought horses over here, guys. So what do you mean there's a life-size petroglyph of a horse located in the Grand Canyon? Hold on. Petroglyph, right? Oh, hmm. Oops. There we go. So a petroglyph is an image created by removing part of a rock surface by incising, picking, carving, or air braiding as form of rock art. Outside North America, scholars often use terms as carving, engraving, or other descriptions. So petroglyphs estimated to be 20,000 years old are classified as protected monuments and have added to UNESCO's World Heritage. The word comes from Greek petro, from petra meaning stone, carve, and originally called in French petroglyph. All right. So petroglyphs have been found in all parts of the globe except Antarctica, with highest concentrations in parts of Africa, Scandinavia, and Siberia. Many examples of petroglyphs found globally are dated to approximately the Neolithic and late Upper Paleolithic boundary, roughly 10,000 and 12,000 years ago. Okay? Around 7,000 and 9,000 years ago, the following introduction of a number of precursors of writing system, the existence and creation of petroglyphs began to suffer and tail off. All right. So you guys understand? You're calling it a petroglyph. That's big right here. This is old. We had horses here. We had horses. This is proof. We had horses here. There's a petroglyph of a horse. Look at the detail. They even got a seat on it and everything. Petroglyph. Petroglyphs are old. It's not in modern. It's not from the Spanish times. It's not from colonial times. Petroglyphs are old. All right. So that's kind of what I want to show you there. All right. Now, real quick. Okay. So, you guys have all probably heard about the explorations in the Grand Canyon, a report done by the Arizona Gazette in 1909, right? So these are some examples right here. I just want to show you. This is kind of what you find on the internet, all right? As you guys can see, explorations in Grand Canyon, mysteries of immense rich cavern being brought to light. Jordan is enthused. All right, so what I want to show here is that the Arizona Gazette was real. It was a real publication. All right. So this is an example of the Arizona Gazette. This is not the same volume, but it's really actually hard to get a hold of the Arizona Gazette. Supposedly, when you go to the Library of Congress, let me just show you guys. It exists. So some people try to say it never existed. It's not even a real newspaper, but it was. Now, trying to get your hands on a issue from 1909, good luck with that. If you got access, you can find where it's located. Supposedly they give you locations here, right? So if you guys are interested and you're gonna go local, boots on the ground, and go find it and help everybody out, hey, go ahead and do that. They have to have it. They have to have it. So libraries that have it, it says here, it's like I'm showing you, right? Original, 1909. Look at that, original. Arizona Historical Society, and so on and so on. It goes in alphabetical order. Well, actually, there's not a lot. Mostly in Phoenix, Arizona. Yep, New York, public libraries, New York. All right, but it is a real newspaper, and it seems to have been a report. Why not? I'm going to show you at the end of this many different newspaper reports, just similar like this, and these were real too. And so it's not just one occasion. It's not a single occasion where people are reporting something crazy or some Egyptian finding in the Americas and North America. It's very common, especially at these times. All right, so there's many websites with the actual report of Kincaid's exploration in the Grand Canyon, the actual newspaper report. There's many examples. So I'm going to read you guys one of them. This is from Biblio Escapades. In fact, if you want to read along, let me just put the link in the chat right now. Here you go. That's the actual what's printed. And again, I can verify that. Again, from going back to the ones actually, that's not the one I have here. So as you can see, it goes into again, explorations in Grand Canyon, mysteries of immense rich cavern being brought to light. Jordan is enthused. Remarkable finds indicate ancient people migrated from the Orient. All right, so it goes over certain topics, associate thorough investigation, Mr. Kincaid's report, the passages, the shrine, and so on and so on. The Indian legend, the hieroglyphics, the crypt, there's a lot. So we're going to read all that in this website. I already verified that it was in there. So this is what it says. Remarkable finds indicate ancient people migrated from the Orient. Remember, this is supposed to be from the Arizona Gazette, Monday evening, April 5, 1909. Explorations in Grand Canyon. The latest news of the progress of the explorations of what is now regarded by scientists as not only the oldest archaeological discovery in the United States, but one of the most valuable in the world, which was mentioned some time ago in the Gazette. But it's not the first time. He just said it, all right? And I actually had a copy of that other report and I couldn't find it. It was on my old computer. So it was mentioned before in another report. Was brought to the city yesterday by G.E. Kincaid, the explorer who found the great underground citadel of the Grand Canyon during a trip from Green River, Wyoming, down to Colorado in a wooden boat to Yuma several months ago. According to the story yesterday to the Gazette, Mr. Kincaid, the archaeologist of the Smithsonian Institute, which is financing the explorations, have made discoveries which almost conclusively prove that the race which inhabited its mysterious cavern, hewn in solid rock by human hands, was of Oriental origin, or possibly from Egypt, tracing back to Ramses. All right, so he's adding his stuff right there. And again, these people are always seeing everything in reverse, just like the other authors, right? They're putting Egypt over there. Ancient Egypt, Tamari was over here. Tamari was over here, and so yeah, we've we found a lot of corroboration. We know corn was over here. Egyptians had corn. Yeah, all that. If their theories are born out of the translation of the tablets engraved with hieroglyphics, the mystery of the prehistoric peoples of North America, their ancient arts, who they were and whence they came, will be solved. Egypt and the Nile, and Arizona and the Colorado will be linked by a historical chain running back to ages which staggers the wildest fancy of the fictionist. All right, all right. A thorough investigation. Under the direction of Professor S.A. Jordan, the Smithsonian Institute is now prosecuting the most thorough explorations, which be continued until the last link in the chain has been forged. All right, so remember what the Smithsonian stands for and what they did a lot of the times is hide all these artifacts, hide the giant bones, hide, just switch the narratives. So their stand on this is that it never happened. They didn't approve no excavation and Kincaid is not real. That's their whole stand on it. That's it. They don't really say much else. So nearly a mile underground, about 1,480 feet below the surface, the long main passage has been delved into to find another mammoth chamber from which radiate scores of passageways like the spokes of a wheel. Several hundred rooms have been discovered, reached by passageways running from the main passage, one of them having been explored for 854 feet and another 634 feet. The recent finds include articles which have never been known as native to this country, and doubtless they had their origin in the Orient. War weapons, copper instruments. All right, copper is from here, the most purest copper. So what do you mean? They found all that in the mounds. All right, so as edged as hard as steel indicate the high state of civilization reached by these strange people. So interested have the scientists become that preparations are being made to equip the camp for extensive studies, and the force will be increased to 30 or 40 persons. So Kincaid is saying they're even interested and they're going to make another expedition and they're going to help me. So again, once the Smithsonian is involved, we're going to see everything disappears and stories get swept under the rug. Before going further into the cavern, better facilities for lighting have to be installed, for the darkness is dense and impenetrable for the average flashlight. In order to avoid being lost, wires are being strung from the entrance to all passageways leading directly to large chambers. How far this cavern extends, no one can guess, but it is now the belief of many that was has already been explored is merely the barracks, to use an American term for the soldiers, and that far into the underworld will be found the main communal dwellings of the families and possibly other shrines. So he's saying it's more probably inside, deeper. The perfect ventilation of the cavern, the steady draught that blows through, indicates that it has another outlet to the surface. And it says here, Mr. Kincaid's report. So again, all of this is on the newspaper article, everything we're reading. Mr. Kincaid was the first white child born in Idaho and has been an explorer and hunter all his life, 30 years having been in the service of the Smithsonian Institute. Even briefly recounted his story sounds fabulous, almost grotesque. First, I would impress that the cavern is almost inaccessible. The entrance is almost 1,486 feet down a near canyon wall. Now, we just saw pictures of a similar place, right? An entrance in a very inaccessible place down a canyon wall. So there's many of these in the Grand Canyon. We already saw a picture of it in that, Reader's Digest book we just came from. We could believe that for sure. It is located on government land. It's located on government land, and no visitor will be allowed there under penalty of trespass. You can't go there. It's owned by the FBI today. The scientists wish to work unmolested, without fear of the archaeological discoveries being disturbed by curio or relic hunters. A trip there would be fruitless, and the visitor would be sent on his way. The story of how I found the cavern has already been recounted, but in paragraph I was journeying down the Colorado River in a boat alone, looking for mineral. Some 42 miles up the river from El Tovar Crystal Canyon, I saw on the east wall stains in the sedimentary formation about 2,000 feet above the riverbed. All right, we're going to actually read about Crystal Canyon, I think, today in a newspaper article, and a different one. There was no trail to this point, but I finally reached it with great difficulty. Above a shelf which hid in it from view of the river was the mouth of the cave. There are steps leading from this entrance some 30 yards from what was at the time the cavern was inhabited, the level of the river. When I saw the chisel marks on the wall inside the entrance, I became interested, secured my gun, and went in. During that trip, I went back several hundred feet along the main passage till I came to the main crypt in which I discovered the mummies. One of these I stood up and photographed by flashlight. I gathered a number of relics which I carried down the Colorado to Yuma, from whence I shipped them to Washington, with details of the discovery. Following this, the exploration were undertaken. The passages. The main passageway is about 12 feet wide, narrowing to 9 feet toward the farther end. About 57 feet from the entrance, the first passages branch off to the right and left, along which on both sides are a number of rooms about the size of ordinary living rooms of today, though some are 30 to 40 feet square. These are entered by oval-shaped doors and are ventilated by round air spaces through the walls into the passages. The walls are about 3 to 6 inches in thickness. The passages are chiseled or hewn as straight as could be laid out by any engineer. The ceilings of many of the rooms converge to a center. The side passages near the entrance run at a sharp angle from the main hall, but toward the rear they gradually reach a right angle in direction. Says here the shrine. Over 100 feet from the entrance is a cross hall, several hundred feet long, in which was found the idol or image of the people's god sitting cross-legged, with a lotus flower or lily in each hand. The cast of the face is oriental, and the carving shows a skillful hand, and the entire is remarkably well preserved, as is everything in this cavern. The idol most resembles Buddha, though the scientists are not certain as to what religious worship it represents. Taking into consideration everything found thus far, it is possible that the worship most resembles the ancient people of Tibet. Huh. Surrounding this idol are smaller images, some beautiful in form, of the crooked neck and distorted shape, symbolical, probably of good and evil. There are two large cacti with protruding arms, one on each side of the dais on which the god squats. All this is carved out of hard rock resembling marble. In the opposite corner of this cross hall were found tools of all descriptions, made of copper. These people undoubtedly knew the lost art of hardening this metal, right? Copper, come on. Just like the mound builders, which has been sought by chemists for centuries without result. On a bench running around the workroom was some charcoal and other material probably used in the process. There is also slag and stuff similar to mat, showing that these ancient people smelted ores, but so far no trace of where and how this was done has been discovered, nor the origin of the ore. Among other finds are vases or urns and cups of copper and gold made very artistic in design. The pottery work includes enameled ware and glazed vessels. Another passageway leads to granaries, such as are found in the Oriental temples. All right, granaries, just like we just read in the book, right? We just came from. They were finding granaries. Supposedly, these caves, these entrances are granaries, just like Kincaid is describing. So, one very large storehouse has not been entered, as it is 12 feet high and can be reached only from above. Two copper hooks extend on the edge, continued on page 7, which indicates that some sort of ladder was attached. These granaries are rounded, and the materials of which they are constructed, I think, is very hard cement. So look, there's even a continuation on another page, because this is the title, I believe, of the first page, so we don't even got an image of that. A gray material is also found in this cavern, which puzzles the scientists, for its identity has not been established. It resembles platinum, thrown promiscuously over the floor everywhere, are what people call cat's eyes, or tiger eyes, huh? Or what they talking about, jaguar? A yellow stone or no great value, each one engraved with the head of a Malay type. Huh. The hieroglyphics. On all urns on the walls over the doorways, the tablets of stone which were found by the image are mysterious hieroglyphics, the key to which the Smithsonian Institution hopes yet to discover. These writings resemble those found on the rocks about this valley. The engraving on the tablets probably has something to do with the religion of the people. Similar hieroglyphics have been found in the peninsula of Yucatan, but these are not found in the Orient. Some believe that these cave dwellings built the old canals in the Salt River Valley. Among the pictorial writings, only two animals are found. One is of prehistoric type. Alright, so they're only found where in the Yucatan, not the Orient. They're found just like in the Yucatan. The crypt. The tomb or crypt in which the mummies are found is one of the largest of the chambers. The walls slanting back at an angle of about 35 degrees. One of these are tiers of mummies, each one occupying a separate hand shelf. At the head of each is a small bench on which is found copper cups and pieces of broken swords. Some of the mummies are covered with clay and are wrapped in a bark fabric. The urns or cups on the lower tiers are crude, while as the higher shelves are reached, the urns are finer in design, showing an interstage of civilization. It is worthy of note that all the mummies examined so far have proved to be male, no children or females being buried here. This leads to the belief that this interior section was the warrior's barack. The warrior's barack, huh? The warrior. Didn't we just see a glyph? Didn't we just come from the other book, guys, right? Where we saw a glyph of the people posing with swords and shields, look like warriors, right? In the Grand Canyon. Petroglyphs. Remember, petroglyphs are really old. Among the discoveries, no bones of animals have been found, no skins, no clothing, no bedding. Many of the rooms are bare but the water vessels. One room about 400 by 700 feet was probably the main dining hall for cooking utensils are found here. What these people lived on is a problem, though it is presumed that they came south for the winter and farmed in the valleys going back north in the summer. Upwards of 50,000 people could have lived in the cavern comfortably. Up to 50,000 people, huh? One theory is that the present Indian tribe found in Arizona are descendants of the serfs or slaves of the people which inhabited the cave. Undoubtedly, a good many thousands of years before the Christian era, a people lived here which reached a high state of civilization. The chronology of human history is full of gasps. Professor Jordan is much enthused over the discoveries and believes that the find will prove of incalculable value archaeological work. One thing I have spoken to may be of interest. There is one chamber, the passageway, to which is not ventilated, and when we approached it, a deadly snaky smell struck us. Our lights will not penetrate the gloom until stronger ones are available. We will not know that chamber contains. Alright, so deadly snaky. No, I know they want us to think reptilian, but what are you talking about? A dragon, huh? Watch out, man. Don't run into no dragon. You better be careful. Some say snakes, but others boo-hoo this idea and think that it may contain deadly gas or chemicals used by the ancients, huh? Gas, fire, breathing dragons? No sounds are heard, but it smells snaky just the same. I wonder what kind of smell is snaky. The whole underground institution gives one of shaky nerves the creeps. The gloom is like a weight on one's shoulder, and our flashlights and candles only make the darkness blacker. Imagination can reveal in conjectures and ungodly daydreams back through the ages that have elapsed till the mind reels dizzily in space. Yeah, demons smell like sulfur, huh? Huh. I wonder how a fire-breathing dragon smells when he breathes on you. 2. An Indian legend, it says here. In connection with this story, it is notable that among the Hopis, the tradition is told that their ancestors once lived in a underworld in the Grand Canyon, till dissension arose between the good and the bad. The people of one heart, the people of two hearts. Manchoto, who was their chief, counseled them to leave the underworld, but there was no way out. The chief then caused a tree to grow up and pierce the roof of the underworld, and then the people of one heart climbed out, right? A large tree. They tarried by Palciabo, Red River, all right? Red River, which is the Colorado, like I was saying earlier, right, guys? Red River, Colorado colored, Red River, and grew grain and corn that empties into the Red Sea or Gulf of California, right? And the grain, the corn grew there, huh? They sent out a message to the Temple of the Sun, asking the blessing of peace, goodwill, and rain for the people of one heart. That messenger never returned, but today at the Hopi village, at sundown, can be seen the old men of the tribe out of the housetops gazing toward the sun, looking for the messenger. When he returns, their land and ancient dwelling place will be restored to them. That is the tradition. Among the engravings of animals, in the cave is seen an image of a heart over the spot where it is located. The legend was learned by W.E. Rollins, the artist, during a year spent with the Hopi Indians. There are two theories of the origin of the Egyptians. One is that they came from Asia. Another is that their racial cradle was in the Upper Nile region. Perrine, an Egyptologist, believed in the Indian origin of the Egyptians. The discoveries in the Grand Canyon may throw further light on human evolution and prehistoric ages. End quote. And that's the actual article that came out in the front page of the Arizona Gazette in 1909. And again, they're always seen in reverse. What if ancient Egypt was here? And it was here. Tamari. Yeah, that was here, guys. Tamari. Yeah, let's get into a little bit of that, if you guys don't mind. Actually, what we're going to do now is, well, first of all, I just want to show you that. Hold on. Okay, we got that. So the map of the Grand Canyon. All right, some images of the Grand Canyon here. All right, look at that. The Vishnu Temple, Shiva Temple. All right, so they know Shiva Temple. Look at that. I know it's a little. Okay. All right, so the Old Pioneer, the triennial magazine of the Grand Canyon Historical Society. So we have this issue here. I'm gonna get it PDF form. So Atlantis Rising, Ancient Egyptians, the Grand Canyon. All right, the famous image everybody has. I just want to read this a little bit, okay? It's a long article. Won't probably read everything, but yeah, I'm gonna try to read a little bit for it for you guys. All right. Yes. So it's in the years since 1992. Actually, sorry. So the title is "Looks Like a Mulhattan Story: the origins of the Grand Canyon Egyptian cave myth." All right. In the since 1992, some dramatic new Grand Canyon lore has emerged, mutated rapidly, taken on elaborate forms, and won a large loyal following. This story appears on thousands of websites. It has been presented several times on a national radio show. It is now showing up in many books. It is well on its way to becoming a standard part of the Grand Canyon landscape, at least the paranormal landscape. This story has the momentum to take a firmly rooted place alongside Roswell, the Sedona Vortex, the Loch Ness Monster, and Atlantis. It seems that in 1909, a Smithsonian explorer named G.E. Kincaid, who was making a solo boat trip down the length of the Colorado River, supposedly only the second Colorado River expedition since Powell, discovered a giant cave in a cave of the Grand Canyon. This cave was located 42 miles upstream from El Tovar Crystal Canyon. The cave was perched 2,000 feet above the level of today's river, but a set of steps reaching 30 yards down from the cave entrance proved that the river had been 2,000 feet higher, or the canyon 2,000 feet shallower. At the time the cave was inhabited, all right? The cave held an elaborate system of tunnels and chambers, hundreds of rooms with straight walls, obviously cut by humans. The chambers were full of artifacts and hieroglyphics and mummies, evidently Egyptian in origin. There was also a statue that looked like Buddha. The artifacts included inscribed tablets, gold urns and cups, pottery, weapons, and sophisticated copper tools and instruments. There were granaries made out of cement. A 700-foot long dining hall still held cooking utensils. It was estimated that these chambers were home to some 50,000 people. One thing about this story is absolutely true. It was published on the front page of Phoenix, Arizona Gazette. So they're saying one thing about it is that what's true about it is that there was a news report that was published about this. Whether the story is real, that's what they're, I guess, debating here. But they're saying one thing is true is that this was published on the Phoenix, right in the front page of the Phoenix, Arizona Gazette on April 5th, 1909. Under the headlines Explorations in Grand Canyon, Mysteries of Immense Rich Cavern being brought to light. Jordan is enthusiastic. Remarkable finds indicate ancient people migrated from the Orient. The article explained that Professor S.A. Jordan of the Smithsonian Institution had now arrived to begin scientific examination of the cavern. He was stringing up electric lights through the passageways. Jordan seemed pretty sure that the cavern was the works of Egyptians, the article said. If their theories are borne out by the translation of the tablets engraved with hieroglyphics, the mystery of the prehistoric people of North America, their ancient arts, who they were and whence they came, will be solved. Egypt and the Nile and Arizona and the Colorado will be linked by the historical chain running back to the ages, right? So that's what we got in the story. The Gazette story was soon forgotten, but in 1962 it was rescued from obscurity by being included in the book Arizona Cavalcade, one of a series of 5 books of newspaper articles from early Arizona history. From there, it eventually came to the attention of David Hatcher Childress, who included it in his 1992 book Lost Cities of North and Central America, a personal exploration of the occult secrets and old world influences in American archaeological sites. And that's a book we're actually going to be reading, and we have read a little bit. Childers related how, upon discovering the Egyptian cave story, he got up a map of the Grand Canyon and was shocked to see that a whole section of formations in the canyon had Egyptian names, such as Isis Temple and the Tower of Ra. Surely this had to be the location of the Egyptian cave. When Childress contacted the Smithsonian and Grand Canyon National Park, he discovered that they were conspiring in a diabolical cover up of this truth. The Smithsonian tried to deny the existence of Kincaid in Jordan and at Grand Canyon National Park. This entire area with the Egyptian and Hindu place names is a forbidden zone. All right, no one is allowed into this large area. No one can go in here. Childress' presentation of the Egyptian cave story struck a chord, a mystic chord, with seekers into the esoteric. The ancient Egyptians were the masters of spiritual knowledge, their pyramids loaded with cosmic secrets. The Grand Canyon was nature's deepest revelation of primordial power and time. The combination of ancient Egypt and the Grand Canyon was too rich to resist. The internet now holds highly elaborate theories about the Grand Canyon Egyptian cave. There are contending schools of thought about the location of the cave. Some say that it must be in the Egyptian name section, and others say that it has to be 42 miles upstream from El Tovar Crystal Canyon. Wherever that is, websites show photos of various cave entrances, such as Stanton's Cave, well known for its ancient artifacts. A cave now locked behind jail-like bars, which the National Park Service pretends is to protect bats. All right, you guys hear that? Several groups have traveled to the canyon and hiked into it to locate the Egyptian cave. Theories try to relate the Egyptian cave to split twig figurines, Hopi legends, Atlantis Area 51, even to the Thing, the Arizona tourist trap mummy. The Thing came from the Grand Canyon cave. People spin new geological theories to explain why the Colorado River was recently 2,000 feet deeper, or maybe the canyon was 2,000 feet shallower. In a cover story article in May of 2009 issue of Paranormal Magazine, Atlantis Rising, David Hatcher Childress proposed that the prehistoric settlement on the Unkar Delta was actually built by the Egyptians and that its name was a corruption of the Egyptian name Ankara Ra, a reference to the Egyptian sun god of Ra. To take one example of Egyptian cave research, websites offer long calculations how sacred geometry connects the cave with the rest of the esoteric world. The Egyptian pyramids, of course, are the ultimate masterpiece of sacred geometry. Their locations and proportions are alignments embodying all of the secrets of the cosmos. It thus stands to reason that there should be a sacred geometry connection between the Great Pyramid of Giza and the Grand Canyon, and it turns out that the canyon's Isis temple fits perfectly into the Egyptian cosmic matrix code. The location, dimensions, and angles of Isis temple correlate with the Great Pyramid of Giza with fantastic mathematical accuracy to 7 or 8 decimal places. Isis temple also shows amazing mathematical correlations with the Sphinx, Stonehenge, the star Sirius, and the face of Mars. This implies that Isis temple must be the location of the Egyptian cave. This may prove that Isis temple was actually human-made. But when one expedition to Isis temple climbed 800 feet up to the most promising cave entrance, they discovered that the entrance, which clearly was human-made, had been dynamited shut. You guys hear that? They actually went and climbed that, and they said there was an entrance, but it's been, you know, dynamited. They closed it down. As theories have become more elaborate, so have claims of a cover up by the Smithsonian and the National Park Service. David Hatcher Childress now claims that the Smithsonian has been destroying evidence of the Egyptians in America. Oh, really? That ain't nothing new to us. Come on. Even towing a barge full of artifacts into the Atlantic and dumping them overboard. Man, others say that the National Park Services has closed the airspace in the canyon, hiking entry to the Egyptian zone and entry into the old caves in order to hide Egyptian artifacts. In a period of 5 weeks, in early 2008, listeners to Coast, the National Paranormal Radio Show, heard David Hatcher Childress say that the Hopis had thrown acid into eyes of Grand Canyon miner Seth Tanner to blind him and prevent him from finding the Egyptian cave, and heard giant expert Steve Quayle say that the occupants of the cave were giants 12 to 14 feet tall, and that Quayle had met someone who swore he participated in removing the giants' mummies from the cave and taking them to Area 51. All right. So, yeah, man, a lot of conspiracies here. Hey, very interesting. Again, that's why we do this in this series, History or Myth. All right. You decide. All right. Does it ever occur to Egyptian cave believers that the Arizona Gazette story could have been a hoax? In fact, it does. Even David Hatcher Childress in Lost Cities of North and Central America admitted that when he first saw the story in Arizona Cavalcade, he bet it was fabricated by the author of that book. It sounds phony. Then Childress looked up the original Gazette article, and there it was in black and white. This verdict is often stated on Egyptian cave websites. If a story appears on the front page of a newspaper, it must be true. It must be true. So Childress actually saw the original. He was able to get his hands on the original somehow. He might have gone to the library where it was held, or he found it in before it was hidden. All right, before it was hidden. This verdict would have come as a surprise to American newspaper readers in 1909, and even more so to newspaper editors. Journalism was not yet an honest and honorable profession, so now they're saying, "Oh, these journalists, you can't trust them in the 1900s and 1800s." But I'm gonna end it right there. These people were literally writing about what they were finding, no bias. They were just like, here, because they weren't thinking of anything like conspiracy like that. They were thinking, oh, cool. Hey, look what we found, so somebody can come and actually come dig it up and actually record it, and some real scientists can come check it out. All right. So I just want to read this. I'm actually gonna post this as well on the chat. It's actually a long article, pretty interesting. Here you go, guys. It's in the chat. So again, that was The Old Pioneer, a triennial magazine of the Grand Canyon Historical Society, Volume 20. All right. All right, let me get a video ready here. 1 second.
All right, it says here.
Okay. For the dismount bonus, all right. So what I'm going to show you guys is a compilation of some of the newspaper articles. Shout out to the archivist, Waking Up with Analog, Ben. Shout out, he got a great channel now. Make sure to support him. We got some articles from his Twitter page where he found a lot of great similar explorations and articles of just like the one Kincaid wrote, the Arizona Gazette wrote in 1909. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at that, these articles. All right. It's about an hour's worth of footage here. Hope you guys enjoy it. For the dismount, just a reminder that the Arizona Gazette report is not isolated. There was many reports like this, so we're gonna just go over some examples. All right, I may stop in and do some commentary here and there. I hope you guys enjoy. Again, thanks for being here and being patient with me today, and taking time out of your day to be here. All right, so let's go right here. 1 second. Let me know if you can hear it.
All right, it says here, buried city under Berkeley, California University said to occupy site of a town of Stone Age. Berkeley, California, May 25th, buried a few feet under the campus of the University of California lies a city of the Stone Age, whose massive walls respond to the instruments of the members of the Berkeley Society for Physical Research and show their well-defined locations. According to the investigation made by Professor Joseph Berold, president of the local Psychical Society and other members, the series of investigations to find the lines of the buried city, which antedates by thousands of years, the time of Columbus. It is said have been carried on quietly for the last few months since the society took up this branch of its studies. And it continues, says here, Kentucky Prehistoric City, Ohio, 1875. Mr. Green Botts, the owner of a farm at Peeled Oak on Slate Creek, a noted section of Bath County, and plowing up about 60 acres of level land this spring, discovered the ruins of a city of regular streets, curved with stone and evincing a higher order of architectural knowledge and a greater civilization than any other prehistoric remains yet found in this country. Many years ago, a faint trace of a similar city was noticed in Montgomery County near Mount Sterling, but the owners of the land, having little taste for backward researches, almost or entirely obliterated the evidences to make room for corn growing. You hear that? All right, moving on. It says here, the Great Wall of China. The Great Wall of Tartaria. The Great Wall of Mississippi. Says here, Mississippi's Great Wall. An interesting prehistoric work, the origin of which is a mystery. One of the scientific puzzles of the state of Mississippi is the Brandywine Stone Wall. It has long been a problem that is yet unsolved. Some time ago, Mr. Thomas Watson of Haslehurst sent Governor Longino a pencil drawing of an immense pile of stones in the southeastern portion of Claiborne County, suggesting that the stone might be utilized in building the new Capitol. In a letter which accompanied the drawing, Mr. Watson stated that these stones, piled high on each other, cover an area 4 miles square. Each stone is 6 feet long, 3 feet wide, and 2 feet thick, and they are joined together with an excellent quality of cement. No man knows how they came there. They may have been there for thousands of years. The builders, the Jackson News thinks, were some prehistoric race. It could not be otherwise. This structure is supposed to be a continuation of the Great Chinese Wall. Listen, this is supposed to be a what? Continuation of the Great Wall of China? All the way in Mississippi? Which seems to begin below Raymond in the southern part of Hinds County, and which is traceable through Copaya. All right, this is how long this wall is. Listen up. It is broad enough to accommodate 2 or 3 wagons abreast and is one of the wonders of the world. All right, continuing here. It says, ancient pyramid found beneath Wisconsin Lake, Minnesota, 1938. It says here, ancient pyramid found beneath Wisconsin Lake. A 1,000-year-old pyramid lies on the waters of Rock Lake. All right, a 1,000-year-old pyramid in Rock Lake, Wisconsin. It is a vestige of an early Aztec civilization. Aztec, huh? In the upper Mississippi Valley. Do they mean the Mexica, the original Mexica that went down into Mexico? For 30 years, the legend of the strange prehistoric pyramid has persisted in Wisconsin. Ever since the day when, with water levels at an unprecedented low, a fisherman struck with his oar an unusual rock and came home with an incredible tale of an Indian pyramid under the water. Then a Milwaukee diver heard the tale. First, he tried to locate the pile by sighting it from an airplane. Then he tried a hydroscope and a moving boat. Finally, he developed a drag that was pulled along 14 feet below the surface of the lake. With this, the pyramid was found. Afterwards, the diver went down to study his find. Continuing here, this is another news report.
All right, so before we continue, so make sure to check out my videos on the Rock Lake Pyramid. I actually bought a book and we read it out loud because I have a physical copy. You know, it's in like audio recording of me reading it, but it's very, very interesting, very revealing what they found there. There's literally a pyramid in Rock Lake, all right, Wisconsin.
This is from West Virginia. It says Mexican discoveries from 1889. It says here Mexican discoveries, additional evidences of ancient civilization. are found in that country. By explorers, splendid roads, and magnificent buildings left by an extinct race, important archaeological discoveries, says here, City of Mexico, August 2nd. Recently returned explorers from the state of Chiapas confirm and add to the remarkable reports concerning important archaeological discoveries. A fine broad paved road built by prehistoric inhabitants has been traced from Tonala down into Guatemala, all right, from Mexico to Guatemala, and thence in a curve up again into Mexico, terminating at Palenque, all right, connecting Palenque. Look at these ancient roads, all right, they're finding these now with the lighter technology. All along this road are still to be seen the remains of ruined cities. And a careful estimate of the population of these places is about 30 million. 30 million, listen. On that part of the road near Palenque, the ruins are of a great magnitude. Houses 4 and often 5 stories high have been found in the depths of the forest, all right? Houses 5 stories high, all right? Buildings. Many of these houses are pyramidal in form, and so covered are some of them with vegetable mold that large trees are growing from the roofs, all right? That's how all these things are. There's trees growing on top of them. In some of the houses, great employment has been made of stone beams of tremendous weight, and architecture indicates a high degree of scientific attainments, all right? These were not savages. And these people are writing about it, right? In the 1800s, they found this stuff in Mexico. When they were first reporting it, they were like, wow. All right, so we got a continuation of this. It says here, extinct races, remarkable discoveries of buried cities in the Republic of Mexico. Mexico, August 2nd. Explorers in the state of Chiapas confirmed the reported remarkable discoveries of archaeological matter. Roads built by prehistoric inhabitants were found, and the ruins of cities with an estimated total population of 30 million were discovered. The houses are of a pyramidal form of architecture and indicate a high degree of scientific attainment. The carved male and female figures dug up are plainly of Egyptian style. Egyptian style, all right? The locality was undoubtedly densely populated. It was densely populated. Egyptian, so-called Egyptian style. This is the original. Okay, this is where the style originated. They copied us.
All right, so Egyptian style, right? Just like in Kincaid's findings and report, right?
30 million inhabitants, these prehistoric roads, it's all being found today with their LiDAR technology. They're finding all this stuff that was reported in the 1800s today with their LiDAR technology in the forest. Wonderful ethnological discovery. Egyptian temples and ceremonies in Arizona. Arizona. Remnants of a prehistoric race. Another one telling us the same thing. Continuing here, it says here we got a news report from DC. Ruins Cover Village, 1923. It says here, Ruins Cover Village, Albuquerque, New Mexico, October 20. Ruins of an ancient Pueblo Bonito, New Mexico, which revealed to geologists a prehistoric underground settlement, are declared to be only the upper story of still another buried village. All right, underground, but they only found the top of it, the top of the building. Neil Judd, director of excavations of the National Geographic Society, has announced that diggings disclosed the second underground city covers at least 3.25 acres. Underground city, 3.25 acres. This is from the National Geographic Society. All right, we got here a news report coming out of, again, San Diego, ruins of San Diego. It says here, ruins of an ancient California city. Antiquaries will feel deeply interested in the discovery of vast regions of ancient ruins near San Diego, and within a day's march of the Pacific Ocean, at the head of the Gulf of California, or the ancient Red Sea, right? The Red Sea. Portions of temples, dwellings, lofty stone pyramids, 7 of these within a mile square, and massive granite rings or circular walls round, venerable trees, columns, and blocks of hieroglyphics all speak of some ancient race of men, now forever gone, their history actually unknown to any of the existing families of mankind. In some points, these ruins resemble the recently discovered cities of Palenque, near the Atlantic or Mexican Gulf coast. In others, the ruins of ancient Egypt. All right? Just like the ruins of ancient Egypt. In others, again, the monuments of Phoenicia, or like the monuments of Phoenicia. This is what they're finding here, right? And yet, in many features, they differ from all that I have referred to, but still they have their uniqueness. I observed that the discoverers deemed them to be antediluvian before the flood, while the present Indians have a tradition of a great civilized nation, which their ferocious forefathers utterly destroyed. The region of the ruins is called by the Indians the Valley of Mystery. Wilwer's Chronicle.
All right, so ancient Egypt, the real ancient Egypt was in the Americas. When we talk about the true old world was here in the Americas, Brian. So make sure to catch up to the videos. We're not just trying to like take anybody's culture. It's just the facts, you know. Egyptians had corn. We have all the writing, inscriptions of the old world, all the languages here found all over the Americas. And we have more classic versions of it, more archaic versions of those writings. Um, what we're going over today is just, you know, we can leave it to history, or people can still believe it's myth. That's up to them. But we got so much corroboration to the Kincaid report is what I'm showing here. Different newspaper reports we've gone over before.
Moctezuma Well. Explorations among ancient ruins, the cave dwellers, extraordinary remains of an extinct civilization. Who and what were these people? Correspondence of Cleveland Herald, Camp Verde, Arizona, Terry, September 20, 1869. On Saturday last, the 18th instance, a small party from this post visited a place called Moctezuma Well, situated on Beaver Creek, about 8 miles distant. All along the bluffs of the Rio Verde and Beaver Creek, wherever these caves exist, they are found to have been the dwelling places of a race of people. I listen to this in these caves, which has long since passed away, and about which not even mythology tells a tale. It's not even part of our mythology. But it is generally supposed that they are of a very ancient character, as old and probably older than the Aztecs of Mexico. Mummies in Tennessee, Georgia, 1892. They were found in a cave and are similar to those of Egypt. Again, they were found in a cave. We're talking about Tennessee, right? We're talking about mummies being found in Tennessee, similar to those of Egypt. That is Egypt, Little Egypt. That is Tamari. Chattanooga, December 2nd, two prominent citizens of London County, Tennessee, while hunting in the mountains, discovered a cave containing well-preserved mummies, similar in every respect to those of Egypt, and a large trunk or case bound with brass, sealed in several places. Upon being opened, it was found to contain several leather cases, also sealed. The largest was open, and a roll of parchment found covered with Hebrew characters, Hebrew, Paleo-Hebrew, Phoenician, that's what they call so-called Phoenician, Hebrew, Paleo. The relics were deposited in the vault of the First National Bank of London. All right, you see, they had it. And the Smithsonian Institution notified. Oh, no wonder we didn't find out about this, because they notified the Smithsonian Institute. And you know what they do, guys? They just hide everything. Reverend Dr. Tucker, pastor of the Presbyterian Church, translated one of the manuscripts and finds it to have been written by Menkata, high priest of the land of Kem. You guys hear that? Who wrote it? Menkata. He signed it. Where was Menkata living then? He was in Tennessee in ancient times. He wasn't over there. It was written by Menkata, the high priest of the land of Kem. All right? It was over here in Tennessee. Who is Menkata? All right? Menkata, mummy of Menkata, high priest of Egypt, found in Tennessee. Menkata.
He was a pharaoh of the 4th dynasty during the Old Kingdom who was well known under his Hellenized names, Miskerinos. All right, we're going to read this article from North Carolina, 1839, from 1839. Nothing new under the sun. Only think, mummies found on this North American continent of ours. Mummies exactly like those of Egypt, all right? Again, are the Masons making it up when they're writing in their sacred books and teaching their initiates and all that, that this is the true the original Egypt? This is where you find the promised land, Atlantis? Are they lying? And then they're finding mummies and all this stuff around here that they never told you about. Christopher Columbus is not so great a hero after all. A bold navigator and all that, but it seems he was mistaken when he supposed he had found a new world. All right? Yeah, he was very mistaken. He knew where he was coming. He didn't never said that. He knew where he was going. He was sent over here. He met Indians in Ireland in the 1470s.
We're just talking about Salvador Fernandez Sarco, okay? That's his real name.
Knew about the navigational stories of, he knew there was trade going on anciently back and forth. He knew this was Atlantis. He knew this was the promised land.
Yep.
Read the notice of Dr. Hawks' lecture below. He is a native of our state and does her honor. Dr. Hawks delivered his lecture on Wednesday evening on the antiquities of America to a crowded room at the Stuyvesant Institute and illustrated his remarks by transparent drawings prepared for the occasion. He first exhibited drawings of mounds, walls, etc., in several parts of the western states, interesting only as exhibiting a link in the chain of testimony, and then proceeded to exhibit drawings representing ruins in Mexico and Central America. The audience listened with respectful attention. Some appeared to be quite interested, but there was an absence of all extraordinary surprise or enthusiasm. Not a man belonging to the Institute of France would have been able to have kept his seat, and having the evidences clearly placed before him, which at once overthrows and unsettles all the theories respecting the discovery of America, listen, and proves uncontestably that we are in the old world.
Uh-huh.
All right? It's not me saying it. Listen to this.
Uh-huh.
I can't make this up.
Yep.
Once you see the overwhelming evidence, all right, that is placed before you, respecting the discovery of America, it proves uncontestably that we are the old world. I've been telling you, shout out to Drop Nation. And not in a country discovered but a few centuries ago. It goes further and throws a new light upon the Bible and prophecies, the only true historical record we have to guide us in such matters. It was impossible to look at the pyramids and the drawings of ruins in Central America, recently made by Mr. Walbeck, together with the glyph, the myriads of stone tortoises, the figures of Isis and Osiris, the palm leaf, the serpents, the heavy stone work, and the various basal relievos, without being satisfied that these were the works and labors of the very same architects who originally built Thebes and Memphis. All right, Memphis is right here in Tennessee. In our long, we hope to have a Champollion with us and the deciphering of the hieroglyphics and the true ancient history of this country. All right, the true ancient history of this in the Americas. All right, you guys hearing? Like everything we've learned on this channel, right? He's just confirming it. Once you really start deciphering the hieroglyphics and the true ancient history of this country will be made known. All right, we continue.
All right, so before we continue, so yeah, exactly what you were saying about the ancient legends and mythology of the ancient Egyptians is that their gods, you know, like Thoth, Osiris, and Isis, these are all Westerners. They came from the Western land. Yeah, Westerners coming from America, the Westerners. Yeah, let's go.
This is a good one right here. We got a sign coming out of Kansas, 1896, the newspaper, right? Report, Colorado ruins. A United States Marshal describes what he saw there. United States Marshal Israel made a number of interesting observations during a recent visit among the ruins of the cliff dwellers in southwestern Colorado. Mr. Israel made the trip to the distant region for the purpose of serving papers from the court in Denver. He found his last man on the border of Utah, and started on the return journey through the mountainous district that was once the home of a race now extinct. In many places, said Mr. Israel, the cliffs are dotted with little stone houses, built of a kind of stone not found in the neighborhood. The question is, where did the stones come from? And how did the builders lift the stones to their places? I saw one large house which was covered with adobe. This was a surprise to me as I never heard of the cliff dwellers using that kind of material. I was told of a remarkable find in the shape of a stone building 60 feet long and several stories above ground, which has also several stories underground. You hear that? The building was described by a man who visited it as containing cedar joists 60 feet long. No cedar grows in that country, and it is a mystery how the natives raise heavy logs up the sides of the cliffs. Continues, says Mr. Israel says the Smithsonian Institution has an agent in the field who is preparing to carry away a large number of relics from their ruins. All right, you guys heard that? You see somebody telling you what I was just saying, what I've been saying in these videos about the Smithsonian Institute. We already know what they do. Everybody who does research into these occult or mysterious things they found here in America, you know that the Smithsonian comes around and things seem to disappear for good from all history. Look at what they're telling you here in this newspaper report. He literally said he wasn't even lying. He was just being honest of what he was experiencing. He was just like, Smithsonian agent, an agent, right, came and what? Carried away a large number of relics from the ruins. A second representation from the east is expected during the summer, so they had more people coming. And within a few years, there will be little of interest in southwestern Colorado for the lover of antiquities. You see what they did? They took it all. The despoilers are at work and the buildings are being torn down, and the skeletons and mummies of the original inhabitants are shipped to the museums of the Atlantic states and Europe. All right, body bag, major drop. Hold up, that's a body bag right there. For the illusion, drop nation. Yo, con drop. Man, I wasn't expecting this, guys. All right, shout out to Waking Up with Analog for sharing this with us, finding these great newspaper reports. They're clearly telling you the agenda. Listen to what they were doing. You know, it's not just theories. They were literally destroying the old world structures. We know this, right? Resets and all that. But they were doing it to the ancient ones too, the indigenous ones, the ones that were out of place, that didn't fit their narratives. Remember Manifest Destiny? Look what they were doing. What they were doing, they were at work, and the buildings are being torn down, and the skeletons and mummies of the original inhabitants are shipped to the museums of the Atlantic states in Europe. The British Museum has Egyptian mummies, right? Oh yeah. What Egypt? America, the true Egypt. Yeah, they're telling you right here they were doing it. Like I was saying, how do we know they weren't shipping all these mummies they're finding in America into Cairo, into Germany, into England, into all these museums all over the world, and talking about, oh, it came from Egypt, being all subliminal. They meant the Egypt, yeah, but they meant to marry. Mary. Continuing, says here, ancient Egyptian ruins in Colorado. Says here, prehistoric city, lofty walls and gigantic pillars with elaborate carving in Colorado desert. A San Diego, California dispatch says that the ruins of a prehistoric city have been discovered by a party of prospectors from Yuma on the Colorado desert. While in search of the Peg Leg mine, the wind had laid bare the walls and the remains of stone buildings. For a distance of 420 feet in length by 264 feet in width, gigantic pillars, quaintly carved to represent dragon heads and rattlesnakes, dragon heads and rattlesnakes, pillars, all right, listen to this, still stood in the sand of the deserts, supporting on their tops huge slabs of granite. The frieze ornamentation resembles Egyptian sculpture, and exhibited a greater degree of skill than is possessed by the Indian artisans of the present day. Fragments of pottery were found underneath the debris, and together with parts of the crumbled pieces of the frieze, were brought by the prospectors to this city. A cave deep in the earth, knives, and the remains of a prehistoric race found in it. News comes from Red Cliff, Colorado, of a wonderful discovery made there of a number of relics of some prehistoric race and an ancient sepulchre in the most peculiar place, which it would appear had never been visited by mankind in any age. American Antiquities, Virginia, 1818. Says here the following is a fair delineation of the stone fort, an ancient curiosity of the West that has not until now been described. About 40 miles from this extraordinary work, and about 2 and 3 miles from the town of Columbia, Maury County, Tennessee, a cave has been discovered containing a variety of earthenware, bricks of a form different from those of modern manufacture, and an iron sword resembling the saber of the old Persians or Scythians. All right? See what they found here in Tennessee? Its description: the stone fort is situated at the confluence of two of the most southern of the three forks of Duck River on the northwestern corner of Franklin County, Tennessee. The walls of this fort were originally composed entirely of stone. If ever the rock was cemented, time has destroyed it. At this time, the walls are covered with a coat of earth or turf, which during the process of time and the constantly recurring decay of vegetable matter for so many, perhaps centuries, has increased to the depth of 1 or 2 feet. On pulling down from its sides the turf, the stone fort stands completely veiled. At its northern extremity and in front of the walls are 2 conical pillars of stone about 6 feet high. Alright, you see they're removing the dirt from the walls. See what they're saying? And they're finding pure stone. It's a temple, it's a building. And it even has 2 conical pillars in front of the wall, about 6 feet high, and at the base about 10 or 12 feet in diameter. In the rear of those pillars stands the northern wall, extending from one branch of the river to the other. This wall meets each branch of the river at the foot of a fall of about 15 feet, the falls on either side being about the same descent. In the northern curtain of the wall is a gateway, which on this section of the fort is the only outlet. This wall on its inner face is about 10 feet perpendicular. In the rear of the gateway is a stone building of 16 feet square, on the right of which is one of a similar description of about 10 feet square. Running south, the stone wall still maintains the same height until you arrive at the foot of the new falls, which are about 20 feet high. The falls on each branch of the river are nearly at the same distance from the upper falls and nearly of the same height on each branch at each fall. At these falls, the stone wall terminates in consequence of a bold rising bluff of limestone, through the center of which has been excavated a narrow pathway with steps to the river. Alright, do you hear what they're finding in Tennessee? This sounds beautiful. Probably at the time it was, built and people were living in it in ancient times. Temples with waterfalls all over it. You hear that? The prehistoric city unearthed in Tennessee is coming out of Idaho, 1890. So here an interesting bit of news comes from Mineral Bluffs in the Copper region of Polk County, Tennessee, announcing that laborers have unearthed a prehistoric city in that vicinity. The first discovery was that of an ancient stone wall, which the workmen traced for 1 mile. Remnants of dwelling and pottery were also found. An extensive mining operator from the scene of the discovery, and who has visited the buried cities of Arizona, recognizes parallel characteristics revealed in Tennessee. The work of excavation will be continued. The improvements and industries of the age are uncover many hidden secrets of the ancients. All right, many secrets of the ancients here in America. Even in Chicago last week, numerous relics of Indian manners and customs were unearthed. Scientific press, all right. All right, we got this article coming out of Virginia, 1880. It says here, the Christian at work has made a marvelous discovery. After reading the inscriptions on the obelisks designed for Central Park, that the original home of the Egyptians was in Yucatan or Mexico. All right, after reading the inscriptions on the obelisk, he concluded, right, the one they put in Central Park. This is a newspaper from 1880 Virginia. They're telling you that the original home of the Egyptians, so-called Egyptians, was in Yucatan or Mexico. This is the true old world. They reached the Nile by traveling up the Pacific coast of North America, crossing the Bering Strait, traversing Asia, and landing in Egypt. All right, that's exactly what we read about the Maya going over to Asia first and then over to so-called Egypt, that colony they built over there. We presume there is some mistake about this. We suspect what the Christian at work meant to say was that the Egyptians got here from the moon on an aerolite thrown up during a volcanic eruption. We hope to hear that this is the fact. All right, so they're kind of making fun of it because it's hard to believe, but did you guys know that the obelisk said that? We got another cave system in Kentucky, even more grand than the Mammoth Cave system. Roads, rivers, and stone coffin Egyptian mummies. This is from 1878. A wonderful cave. Another wonderful cave has recently been discovered near Glasgow Junction, Kentucky. It has already been explored for a distance of 23 miles in one direction, called the long route, and 16 miles in another direction, called the short route. Do you guys hear how big this cave is? Several mummified remains have been discovered in one of the large rooms. All right, they got mummies in here. They were reposing in stone coffins, rudely constructed, and from appearance may have been in this cave for centuries. They present every appearance of the Egyptian mummies. Okay, you guys hear that? Newspaper letting you know they found coffins in this cave, this immense cave in Kentucky, with Egyptian-like mummies. The owner of the cave, Thomas Kelly, is, or rather was a few days ago, a very poor man, struggling to make a payment on a farm of 24 acres, upon which, by mere accident, the entrance to this wonderful cave was discovered. He obtained about $400 for 3 of the mummies and is now offered $10,000 cash for the cave. You guys hear that? They're like, yo, give us the mummies so we can throw it in the European museums and say it came from the desert over there in Egypt, modern day Egypt. We got buried cities in Arizona, 1899. Again, buried Arizona cities. Great ruins where once lived a forgotten race. Indications that earthquakes killed many of their inhabitants and that the others fled, never to return. Artificial rivers dug with an infinite amount of labor. Phoenix, Arizona, July 31st. A petition is to be presented to Congress at its next session asking that steps be taken to protect the buried cities of a wonderful prehistoric race in southern Arizona. It is hoped that Congress will create a government reservation or park which will embrace several of the best preserved remains of large cities in the Gila Valley. Many Americans familiar with the details of the unearthings of the temples at Nineveh and explorations at Babylon and Thebes have little or no knowledge concerning the remains of prehistoric communities in the west of their own country. They're talking about United States. In the Gila and Salt River valleys of southern Arizona are relics of mysterious interest which baffle investigation, and they are being hacked to pieces and carried away piecemeal because Americans know little about them and the government does not care. You see, they're taking all these relics. A lot of the time it's their own government and they're bringing it over there to their museums, right? And talking about they found it in Egypt. In the neighborhood of Tempe, an overflow from the Gila at some distant period washed against the ruins until they crumbled and were spread out level with the country. All right, something happened. You see that washed away. Back 10 miles from the Gila River, the ground is higher and was once the site of a city. Portions of the buried city wall by which it was protected are still standing, more than 20 feet in thickness. Inside are the mound-like ruins of the houses, which being less durable have crumbled. The buildings must have been very large, for in some instances the mounds are 300 feet in length by 200 in width and 20 in height. We had Casa Grande in Arizona, another article here speaking on it from 1893. Here we got a picture of Casa Grande. They're saying it was about 3 stories, but we're going to see how tall it really was when the Spaniards supposedly got there. And as you can see, this old world building says here Casa Grande Ruins. A writer in the Native American who recently visited the interesting ruins of Casa Grande says, the ruins, which are roofless at the present time and 3 stories high, were, when discovered by the Spaniards, 7 stories and covered by a fine cedar roof, which was burned at the time of the Apache invasion. At the time of the building of the structure, cedar may have been grown in the vicinity, although now there is none nearer than 100 miles. There is no doubt but that they are the ruins of a citadel, which was the center of a city containing a population of fully 500,000, that's 500,000 people. A research society sent out from Washington a few years since, and excavating found 2 drinking vessels modeled in the fashion of the Chinese rattlesnake. This raised the question whether the people who inhabited the city were not of Chinese origin. The walls were built in 4-foot cubic blocks, in the manner in which the Mexican of today uses the adovera blocks, being built and dried upon the preceding one. In the center of the citadel are 2 cells, and in the walls are loopholes. All right, loopholes. We're talking about sports, a basket, a ball going through, which indicate the nature and use of the building. There are other and lesser ruins nearby. We're just talking about a so-called forgotten race or buried cities here. So it's here 7 buried cities. 7 buried cities. The expedition that worked during the winters of 1896, 97, and 98 under the patronage of Mr. Butum in the neighborhood of Mesa, a little town in the eastern part of Maricopa County, revealed vast possibilities for scientific investigation in these buried communities. The site of the investigations was what is known as the Mesa Grande, or Big Upland, between the 2 principal rivers in southern Arizona, the Gila and the Salt, whose combined current finds vent in the Rio Colorado at Yuma. One of the 7 buried cities, there is known as Las Acequias. It covers an area nearly 2.5 miles square and probably once had about 25,000 people. Exploration shows that the great artificial canals, all right, here we go again, great artificial canals, which were its arteries of commerce and agriculture, were elaborately terraced. All right, and remember, wherever you got agriculture, you got civilization. So they're talking about these artificial canals. These great artificial canals were elaborately terraced. They didn't just dig some waterway. They had terraces on these canals. Millions of cobblestones were used to retain the canal banks. An army of thousands of men and women must have spent months, perhaps years, in carrying loads of stones and wicker baskets on their backs from the distant places to the banks. The Batum expedition proved the fact that the prehistoric people used their canals for navigation. The enormous cedar timbers that are yet found in these wonderful towns came from mountains 5,000 feet high and about 70 miles distant. We're going to continue talking about these canals in this area of Arizona. We got another newspaper article here. It says here, along the main canal, the exploration of Professor Adolphus E. Vandelier and Mr. Butum show clearly that these prehistoric towns extended along the sides of the main canal for a great distance in proportion to their width, and were situated on the outer edge of the cultivated tract, which included all the intervening land to the river. The towns all consisted of enormous central citadel or temple buildings within clusters of dwellings and walled enclosures, which in turn were surrounded by the thatched huts of the laborers. It says here 50 skeletons. Ironton, Ohio, August 25th. Recently, the findings of some 50 skeletons and parts of a skeleton on the farm of Luke Kelly attracted wide attention. At first, it was supposed the remains were those of victims of river pirates, but the latter discovery of prehistoric implements, fixed them as the skeletons of mound builders. Interest in the discovery spread, and it is now a well-established fact that at Proctorsville, a few miles above this city, are the ruins of a buried city. The streets were paved, there were aqueducts and many evidences of refinement. The city must have been large, though a great part of it appears to have slipped beneath the Ohio River. Okay? A prehistoric city they have found here. They're telling you it was very well built. The architecture, it had aqueducts, paved streets, everything. Complete city. And a great part of it slipped beneath the Ohio River. It is believed that proper excavations would reveal a world of treasures. Says here, prehistoric city found. Discovery made in San Jacinto Mountains in California. Los Angeles, California, March 19th. In the San Jacinto Mountains near the edge of the Coachella Valley, BF, Bond of Long Beach, has just made one of California's most important archaeological discoveries. He has found the ruins of a prehistoric city containing from 700 to 1,000 well-preserved stone houses, evidences of paved streets, and strange earthenware of fine types are found, okay? And they never told anybody about this, huh? A prehistoric city, Oregon, 1905. A discovery has been made in the Andes Mountains, 250 miles from Arauco, Chile, of a city deserted for 2,000 years, but once inhabited, presumably by Aztecs of much larger stature than those who lived in Central America, according to the story told by two men just returned from Chile, all right? So they're just saying Aztecs probably. They don't know. How can Aztecs be down there older? Aztecs are kind of more new, you know? They expect that their story will add to the scientific knowledge of South American prehistoric races and are now hurrying east to present the result of their researches to American and German scientists. The discoverers of the ancient city are Professor Emil von Verges of Berlin, a famous archaeologist of Germany, and William J. Hemingway of New York, who has spent several years exploring South America. At the head of a party of 5, they have spent a year in South America on a special expedition of exploration. The deserted city was found in a small valley, reached only after weeks of hardships. It was in an excellent state of preservation. The explorers finding stone houses, supposed to have been erected 20 centuries ago, crumbling and grown over with mosses and shrubs, just standing upright, ancient tools of husbandry, household implements of stone, and hermetically sealed graves. Hermetically sealed graves give evidence of a high state of civilization. A large quantity of articles are being taken east. They're being what? Taken to the east. These articles, right? These artifacts they're finding here in the Andes, they're bringing them to where? The east. They're going to put them in the museums over there, guys. They're going to say, oh, we found this in Egypt. Oh, we found this in Babylon, Iraq. They're clearly telling you in this article, right? The articles are being taken east. The city comprised 1,500 souls. Von Burgess believes that either flood or disease exterminated the prehistoric race, probably the latter. Mud-flooded melted stone buildings found completely buried below ground in Wisconsin. Says here, prehistoric discovery in Wisconsin, Kaukauna, Wisconsin, September 26. Workmen engaged in excavating a sewer came upon the ruins of a stone building at the depth of 8 feet. The stone first found bore traces of fine workmanship and polish. Further diggings developed a quantity of ashes, about 25 bushels of which were removed. When another wall was struck, the stones were finely placed, some being blackened as if by fire and smoke. Others must have been subjected to great artificial heat. Listen to what's they're finding here. As they had crumbled into lime, the work was found but a foot or two above bedrock, and shows evidences of workmanship that could have been performed only by a highly civilized race. It must have been done centuries ago, as a large elm tree had grown over the ruins, all right? This is old, guys. This is what they're telling you, what they're finding here. The discovery has led to the advancement of many theories, all right? It says here, tablets, carvings, and mummy in Ohio cave. High civilization, huh? Adams County, Ohio is rich in remains of prehistoric mounds and fortifications and is the mecca of enthusiastic archaeologists. Most of the mounds are on alluvial bottomlands in the Ohio River. 17 miles northeast of Manchester is a prehistoric cavern in which wonderful discoveries have lately been made of great interest to the scientific world. I have been unable to learn when this cave was first discovered. It was known to the earliest settlers, and they no doubt learned of its existence from the Indians. It contains 9 chambers, or rooms. These apartments are connected by narrow galleries. All but the third one from the entrance are mathematically regular in shape, being each about 30 feet in length, 20 feet in width, and 15 in height. These galleries are of the same height as the main rooms, but are only 6 feet wide. The excavation passes through a solid ledge of freestone, which is bisected about 100 feet from the mouth of a vein of limestone. You got a quick one right here. It says a prehistoric race. Some interesting discoveries made at Nashville. It says here March 5th, near Cleveland, Tennessee, the work of a prehistoric race has been discovered in the shape of a wall, now underground, another underground wall. It is 5 feet high and 100 yards long. Some stones bear inscriptions in hieroglyphic characters. The wall evidently antedates the mound builders. Okay, this is old, under Tennessee. And we're in the Rathman's Journal. This is volume 4, number 20. This is from January 6, 1858. Okay, and as you guys can see, this is from Clearfield, Pennsylvania. So we're going to zoom in the part we're going to read from. So hopefully it's not too blurry for you guys, but I'll read it out, don't worry. It says here, Antiquities in America. Throughout the entire length and breadth of the country, washed as it is by the waters of 2 mighty oceans, and abounding in natural resources, enormous beyond what is impossible to conceive, we find much to admire in the aspect and beauty of nature, and whether we travel from the distant shores of Maine and New Brunswick to the golden sands of California and the shores of the great Pacific, or from the bright crystal lakes of Minnesota to the orange groves of Florida, we behold throughout the immense extent the features of nature, grand and beautiful in every form and aspect. The mineralogist, the geologist, the naturalist, the botanist, and even the antiquarian have all a rich field here. All right, true old world. Strange as it may appear, America abounds in antiquities so extensive, so beautiful and majestic as to rival those of Thebes or Nineveh. All right, because this is the true Thebes and Nineveh. Ruins of ancient cities of immense extent, okay? Fortifications, mounds, and pyramids, temples with walls built on hewn stone, showing a refined taste in architecture, and adorned with human figures, beautifully executed, large altars ornamented with hieroglyphics, probably giving a record of those who reared them, but which no man has been able to decipher. Remains of ancient palaces with beautiful specimens of sculpture and painting, with many other marks of ancient greatness, prove to us that this is not a new world, okay? Again, mic drop. Can I get a body bag for the illusion? What I've been telling you guys, this is the true old world. This is not a new world. Again, they're saying this proves to us that this is not a new world. You gotta dodge your own hijacks. But that a powerful empire, okay? A powerful empire existed at a very remote period of time, teeming with a population highly skilled in arts, and in a state of civilization far beyond anything we have been led to conceive of the aborigines, all right, of the indigenous people here, previous to the discovery of the continent by Europeans, all right, not the white man, but Europeans. The antiquities of America extend from the eastern shores of Maine and Massachusetts to the Pacific, and from the Great Lakes and British dominions to Peru and La Plata in South America. In fact, throughout the extent of both continents, immense forests grow over the ruins of large cities, and the gigantic size of the trees, with indications that other generations of trees sprung up and grew before them, proves that the ruins were in existence before the Christian era, okay? This is old here. And remember, our chronologies are false. They made things look old on the other side. They made them look like they were BC times, but in reality, a lot of this stuff's just happening in the Middle Ages or so-called Dark Ages. So finding these structures here before the Christian era is no doubt indication of very ancient people. In every portion of the United States, interesting ruins have been discovered. In the state of New York, have been found sculptured figures of 100 animals of different species, executed in a style for superior to anything exhibited by any of the existing tribes of Indians. The state of Ohio abounds in ruins of towns and fortifications, with extensive mounds and pyramids. At Marietta and Missouri, beautiful pottery, silver and copper ornaments, and pearls of great luster have been dug from the earth. In the caves of Tennessee and Kentucky, mummies have been found in a high state of preservation, okay, mummies, clothed with cloths and skins of various texture, inlaid with feathers. Like discoveries have been made at Carrollton, near Milwaukee, in the state of Wisconsin. Ruins of huge fortifications appear. Similar ruins appear in the state of Missouri, on the south side of the Missouri River. In the western portion of the state is an enclosure of some 500 acres, which includes the ruins of a building, no doubt ancient tower, okay? An ancient tower here in Missouri, with walls over 100 feet high and 80 feet wide at the base, attached to which are a roundabout and a citadel, with work much resembling the structure of a tower in Europe. But it is in the south of Mexico that magnificent and beautiful ruins present themselves in abundance. Ruins of majestic cities and magnificent temples and altars, with beautiful works of sculpture, tastefully wrought, palaces adorned with paintings, colors chiefly sky blue and light green, which show by their richness and elegance to be the work of a highly cultivated people. All right, you see all this on the wall? Highly cultivated people. Do you remember your ancestors? These ruins, majestic and beautiful in appearance, but overgrown with thick forests of mahogany and cedar of immense dimensions and great age, prove to the world that a great empire existed here at a very remote period of time, okay? True old world. And that this empire teemed with an immense population, a people skilled in the mechanical arts and in advanced state of cultivation, okay? Agriculture started here. The most extensive ruins are to be found at Uxmal and Palenque in the southeast of Mexico. At Uxmal are immense pyramids coated with stone and quadrangular stone edifices and terraces. The highest of these pyramids is 130 feet, and on the summit, it supports a temple, okay? Not only is it just pyramid like the ones in Egypt, but we have temples on top of our pyramids. On one of the facades of the temple are 4 human figures cut in stone with great exactness and elegance. The hands are crossed upon the breast. The head is covered with something like a helmet. About the neck is a garment of the skin of an alligator, and over each body is a figure of a death's head and bones. All right, that sounds like the pirate symbol, right? The skull and bones. At Palenque, a city of great extent, are immense ruins with the remains of a royal palace, one temple, that of Copan, 520 feet by 650, and supposed to have been as large as St. Peter's at Rome. Another temple of great dimensions is here, having an entrance by a portico 100 feet long and 10 feet broad. It stands on an elevation of 60 feet. The pillars of the portico are adorned with hieroglyphics and other devices. Different objects of worship have been found, representations of the gods who were worshipped in this country. These temples with 14 large buildings and many other objects of curiosity stand here as monuments of ancient greatness to remind us of the remote origin of a mighty empire. The city has been described as the thieves of America, okay? Palenque, the thieves of America. We already got this. Remember the exploration of Dupox and Palenque and what he found and what we read? Make sure to catch the previous presentations. So it's been described as the thieves of America, and travelers have supposed that it must have been 60 miles in circumference and contain a population of 3 million souls, okay? Palenque alone. Centuries must have elapsed and dynasties succeeded each other before such orders of architecture were introduced, and a great length of time must have passed before empire would become sufficiently powerful to erect such temples and possess a city of such vast extent. Okay, I hope you guys understood that. He's literally telling you, yes, in order for people to settle down, right? First, you got to develop agriculture from a hunter, gatherer, or whatever you are, right? So you can settle down. You have time and eventually build a whole city, palaces and everything, stadiums. By the time you do that, you're already way advanced and you've been in that region for many, many ages before that. And looking back to the past, we feel interested in the imagination that these people, once in the noonday of glory, enjoying all the fruits and luxuries of an advanced civilization. But when we behold these ruins, a melancholy reflection must at once seize our minds. On the ground where once nations met in their strength and power, wild beasts now roam, and venomous serpents wend their way. All right? It's almost like these people and these civilizations already went through their apocalypse, right? The end of their world. And over these vast cities, where once the busy hem of industry and the voice of merriment resounded, grows the vast cedar, on whose branches the owl chatters discordant notes and the bat sleeps at meridian. In this country is exhibited the largest pyramid in the world, that of Cholula, near Puebla, okay? Cholula. It has the largest base of any pyramid in the world. It covers 44 acres and is 200 feet high. On its summit was a temple, and in the interior has been discovered a vault, roofed with beams of wood containing skeletons and idols, several smaller pyramids surrounding this large one. It appears to have been formed by cutting a hill into an artificial shape, almost like a mound, huh? Its dimensions are immense, being nearly 3 miles in circumference and about 400 feet high. But I just want to say that it's actually stone under there. It is divided into terraces and slopes covered with platforms, stages and bastions elevated one above the other, and are formed with large stones skillfully cut and jointed with cement. In some respects, the style of architecture resembles the Gothic, being massive and durable, while in other respects it resembles the Egyptian. Yet the general construction manner and style of architecture is different from anything hitherto described in the world, okay? It's still unique. In Egypt, hieroglyphics on stone denote remarkable events, which no one has yet been able to decipher, huh? So in 1858, they didn't know anything about that place over there. Imagine that. A dark shade rests on the antiquities of America, and a few rays of light enliven the gloom. We have ancient history to inform us of the events of Egypt, how that empire was founded and how it prospered and fell. We have the same record of Babylon, Nineveh, Greece, Rome, and Carthage, but not the least information have we relative to those who erected these cities. All right, dodge the hijack. Why am I saying that, guys? Because all these places they named right there, I bet you most of these, if not all these places, were here in ancient America, the real ones. So there is a history, it's just been put in the wrong place. What people and whence they came, not a ray of light to dispel the dark gloom which seems to rest on the earliest history of America. They're like, who are you? Who are these people? So again, they can't tell you who you are if they don't know, right? So what they talking about Bering Strait and all these out of Africa theories, architecture, sculpture, painting, and all the arts that adorn civilized life have flourished in this country at a period far remote. There is evidence sufficient to prove that these cities were in ruins at least 16 or 1800 years ago. They were already in ruins back then. In Palenque are the remains of an altar over which grows an immense cedar. Okay, there's a cedar, really tall cedar growing over an altar. How many years is that? Whose powerful roots enshrine it. The whole city is overgrown with mahogany and cedar trees of enormous size. The concentric circles of some of these trees, the well-known cycles for a year, have been counted, which showed they were more than 800 years old. And there were indications of another generation of trees having sprung up before them. Okay, there was even trees before that they're growing. How few reflect on the fact that America is an old dominion, the seat of an ancient mighty empire. These facts are opening themselves every day to the eyes of the astonished world. So in the 1850s, people were realizing this. And what happened? How did we lose track of this and stop investigating, stop researching? Why isn't this part of our curriculum? Why is it not in our textbooks? Why they got us looking at the other side of the world only? What happened in the 1900s? So they're opening the eyes of the astonished world, and it is to be hoped that the spirit of inquiry, which seems at present to animate all classes of learned men, may throw light on the early history of this remarkable region, okay? This remarkable region. And I will add to that, I hope that the spirit of inquiry today is still alive to animate all truth seekers and learned men so that we together can bring this truth out.
All right. So that's that compilation. I just wanted to show you guys that there's more reports, you know, like the Smithsonian one, the Kincaid one, about, what they're finding in different places in North America and stuff. All right. So I do appreciate everybody that's tuned in. People can believe whatever they want and they can come criticize and be skeptical. We've put in a lot of work and a lot of resources, shown a lot of corroboration over the years, not just me, but many others. And, we're past trying to prove it to anybody. It's a fact. America's the true old world. So, we're gonna go out with a hit single from Kurimeo. No, so, we're just gonna go ahead and jam out a little bit. It's all about Hawa. Thanks for tuning in. Pura vida, mi gente. One love. Hawa, Hawa.
Después volverán los hijos de Israel, buscarán a Jaguá su creador y a David su rey, y temerán a Jaguá y a su bondad el fin de los días.
Yahweh, Kamada Shadala. Yahweh, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Yahweh, Baraka Shadala. Yahweh, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya.
Sound the trumpets, wake up the nation. We breaking the spell, expose the false narration. This ain't religion, it's the sons of Jacob, blood relation. Rise the lions, take your place, it's your coronation. Babylon must fall, it's time for your liberation. We get our land back, there's no negotiation. These are stolen lands, this is Roman occupation. Come Yasharallah, no more separation. We're dreaming away, we're just passing our days. Living with no breaks, we just stuck in this phase. With no escape, while truth is in your face. We really need to wake up, before it's too late. Mentira y engaño entre la historia bien contada. Consciente no callo, mi lengua bien armada. Regar hábitos mi ancestro, herencia que fue robada. Entre encomienda y esclavitud, nuestra cultura fue borrada.
Yahweh, Kamada Shadala. Yahweh, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Yahweh, Baraka Shadala.
ready for battle. I stay keeping the code, drop nation unrivaled. Digging through history, the truth we unravel. Dodging the hijack, no time for your babble. On the road to science, our ancestry decoding. Warriors but blood, don't be provoking. I be praising Hawa, fringes on the clothing. We're closer than ever, prophecies unfolding. Spreading the knowledge, these droplets returning the oceans. I'm riding with prophets, most high my devotion. Breaking the spell, propaganda, holy Roman. Many are being called, but few will actually be chosen. Mentira y engaño, entre la historia bien contada. Consciente, no callo, mi lengua bien armada. Regada, beat mi ancestro, herencia que fue robada. Entre encomienda y esclavitud, nuestra cultura fue borrada.
Yahuwah, kama dashana Allah. Yahuwah, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Yahuwah, baraka dashana Allah. Yahuwah, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Yahuwah, kama dashana Allah. Yahuwah, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Yahuwah, baraka dashana Allah. Yahuwah, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya.
Wow.